A mirror is supposed to be simple, unbiased, a flawless duplication of what stands before it, but cinema has always had a way of turning that simplicity into something uneasy. Across film history, mirrors have been used to reveal hidden parts of characters, their desires, their fears, their fractured minds. But in some films, the mirror becomes more than metaphor. It breaks the rules, shows things that weren't on set, moves when nothing moves, hides nothing, but reflects something no one can explain. In today's list, we explore films where the mirror refused to behave. These aren't bloopers or accidental crew cameos. They're brief, strange distortions in scenes that otherwise play perfectly, reflections that don't sync, figures that don't exist, or moments that have mysteriously vanished from later versions of the film. What's more disturbing than what's seen is the silence surrounding these moments. No director commentaries, no public corrections, no acknowledgement. It's as if the mirror did its job and no one wanted to talk about it afterward. Are these overlooked technical faults? Or did someone, maybe even the director, leave behind a silent clue for those willing to watch carefully? What if these reflections weren't mistakes at all? What if they were signals, signs that something in the frame was never meant to be part of this world? Tonight, we're looking straight into the screen, at the 15 times cinema's mirrors didn't reflect reality, but something beyond it. So sit back, keep your eyes on the glass, and ask yourself, when the reflection doesn't match, who's really in control, the actor, or whatever's behind them? Passon, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, 1992. Sometimes, a mirror is the only thing that refuses to lie. Lynch's Fire Walk with Me is filled with broken timelines, unspeakable trauma, and spirits that wear human faces. But no scene cuts deeper than the moment Laura Palmer looks into a mirror. Behind her, we see her father, but in the reflection, it's not him. It's B.O.B. There's no scream, no cue, no reaction. Just a visual truth the mirror forces upon us. A truth no one in the room will say aloud. Lynch never explained the moment. He didn't need to. The mirror did what no one else would. It told us what was really happening. Dve, annihilation dva tisoch osemnaist. What if your reflection isn't mirroring you but reconstructing you? In Annihilation, the shimmer warps everything. Plants, animals, time. Identity itself begins to melt, but no scene captures this dissolution more subtly than a quiet encounter with a mirror. Lena studies herself in the glass, but the angles are skewed, her reflection moves just a fraction late, her body seems stretched. The background behind her doesn't quite align with the real world. It's not a glitch, it's not dramatic, but it feels wrong, as if she's watching someone almost like her, but not exactly. The film never calls attention to it, but the image lingers. What if the reflection wasn't lagging behind, but rewriting her? #3. Stoker, 2013. Not all awakenings happen in real time. Some begin in the mirror. Stoker is a film of controlled menace where violence simmers beneath beauty and transformation hides in stillness. One particular scene reveals that shift not through action, but through reflection. India sits at her vanity, brushing her hair. The room is quiet, her expression blank, but in the mirror, something is wrong. Her reflection lifts its eyes a second early. Then the real India follows. And for the faintest moment, the mirror smiles before she does. There are no visual effects, no music cues, nothing to sell the moment. It just happens. Was the mirror revealing her change before she felt it? Or did the version of India in the glass move first because it was already ahead? #4. Enemy, 2013. Sometimes, the mirror doesn't reflect who you are. It shows who's watching. Enemy is built on confusion, identity doubled, fractured, reversed. But the film's most disturbing moment doesn't come from dialogue or action. It comes from a glance. A character walks past a mirror. His back is to us. But in the glass, his face is visible, staring directly out. He doesn't turn. He doesn't acknowledge it. The reflection just exists, independently. No explanation, no reference, no mistake. Was it a visual metaphor? A hidden clue? Or a brief, unintended peek into which version of him was actually in control? The scariest thing a mirror can do is look at you first. 5. Poltergeist 1982. Some mirrors don't reveal spirits, they reveal misalignment. Poltergeist is known for its loud, terrifying set pieces. But one of its most unsettling moments is easy to miss: a quiet betrayal of physics in a mundane bathroom scene. Steve looks into the mirror. He leans forward, wipes his face, blinks, but the reflection stutters. Not obviously, not dramatically. just enough to register. The mirror is behind by a fraction of a second. There are no practical effects in play, no known editing mishaps. The delay is unexplained and, in some cuts, removed entirely. It's as if the mirror had trouble keeping up, or chose not to. And when your reflection delays, what exactly is it waiting for? #6. It Follows. 2014. The reflection wasn't following, it was leading. It Follows is a film about slow, unstoppable dread. The threat is always advancing, but never running. Yet in one mirror scene, the timeline itself seems to break. Jay stands before a mirror in her bedroom. The room is still, but the reflection moves slightly ahead of her. A tilt of the head, a breath, something too early. It's brief, but once seen, it can't be forgotten. No commentary, no digital artifacts. It just happens like the mirror got tired of copying and decided to warn her instead. In a story about being hunted, what does it mean when the thing chasing you is already in your reflection? #7. Coherence. 2013. Sometimes your reflection isn't a reflection, it's competition. Coherence is about colliding realities. It unfolds in real time, with low-budget brilliance and growing dread. But one mirror moment stands out not because it's flashy, but because it feels wrong. M enters a dim hallway. A mirror catches her movement, but not as expected. Her reflection's posture is off. The tilt of her head doesn't match. And then, it hesitates, holding her gaze too long. No explanation, no audio cue, just a lingering moment of mismatch. Was it a technical oversight in a chaotic shoot, or did the mirror capture the version of M that belonged to this reality, watching the one who doesn't? When timelines fracture, the mirror may be the only thing that knows who's real. #8. The Shining. 1980. What does it mean when Kubrick lets the mirror break formation? The Shining is obsessive in its geometry. Symmetry rules the Overlook Hotel like a tyrant. So when the mirror misbehaves, it's not an oversight, it's a message. In the red bathroom scene, Jack and Grady speak calmly, but behind them, their reflections shift out of sync. Mouths don't match, gestures fall out of time. The space behind them doesn't quite match the room. Kubrick never acknowledged it. No production notes explain it, but viewers who know his precision see it for what it is. Intentional deviation. The hotel bends reality. The mirror is simply the first place it gives up pretending. #9. Hereditary. 2018. You can't lie to the mirror, especially when it sees something you haven't become yet. Hereditary unfolds like a curse you can't shake. Every shot is meticulously composed, every silence loaded, but one moment, near the middle of the film, disturbs in a way most viewers never fully understand. Peter stands in front of a mirror. His face is hollowed by grief and fear, but in the glass, something is different. His reflection doesn't blink, doesn't shift. It holds its gaze frozen, watchful, almost separate from him. Then, just as he turns, the reflection lingers behind for a heartbeat longer than it should. No tricks, no digital tampering. Just something captured on camera that shouldn't be possible. Is it Peter watching himself? Or something already inside him, preparing to take over? Sometimes, the mirror isn't reflecting what you are, it's previewing what you'll become. 10. Fight Club. 1999. When the mirror reflects both of you, it's already telling the truth. Fight Club is a story about a man who doesn't know who he is. The film plays with duality, identity, and self-deception, but it's a quiet scene in a hotel bathroom that may offer the biggest clue visually, not narratively. The narrator stares at himself in the mirror. Tyler stands behind him, but the angles don't work. The reflection is wrong. Movements misalign. In one moment, the mirror shows both men when only one should exist. Some think it's a framing error. Others believe Fincher left it in deliberately, hiding the twist in plain sight. But there's another theory. The mirror is playing by different rules, ones the character doesn't yet understand. What happens when your reflection tells a truth you haven't discovered? 11. Candyman 1992. Before the legend appears, the mirror already knows his name. The mythology of Candyman centers around reflection. Say his name 5 times while looking into a mirror and something answers. But before any summoning occurs, the mirror in this film betrays a secret. In one early scene, Helen briefly glances into a mirror. Nothing unusual until you isolate the frame. Her reflection is wrong. The head turns too early. One blink happens out of sync. The image feels alive, but not hers. The effect is never addressed. It happens without drama, without attention. But fans who dig deep into the film's rhythm can't unsee it. Maybe the mirror didn't summon Candyman. Maybe he was already there waiting in the glass. Casson 2. The Others. 2001. The mirror didn't glitch. It paused. The others builds its dread in silence in long corridors, whispered prayers, and things not quite visible. But it's in one fleeting hallway shot that something appears off. Grace walks past a tall antique mirror. Her movement is smooth, continuous, but her reflection, it seems delayed, only slightly, a breath too long. Enough to notice, if you're looking. What unsettles fans more is that this delay doesn't exist in all versions. In certain international cuts, the moment is clean perfectly in sync, but in a few rare prints, the reflection lags. Was it a post-production fix, an error from the original shoot, or was it always intentional and later removed to avoid drawing too much attention? In a house full of invisible presences, maybe the mirror was never meant to reflect her alone. 13. Black Swan 2010. She was staring into the glass. But something else stared back. Black Swan is a hall of mirrors, every reflection, another layer of Nina's unraveling mind. But in one particular moment, the glass breaks more than character. It breaks sequence. While applying makeup before a performance, Nina looks down, but her reflection doesn't. The mirror version of her lifts its eyes first, a second ahead. Then Nina follows. It's fast, subtle, but deeply wrong. There are no effects at play here, no composite shots, just a mirror and a camera. And yet it feels as though the reflection moved of its own will. Was it a trick of choreography, a framing accident, or something darker, a visual whisper that Nina's transformation had already begun, and the mirror knew it before she did? Eletites oculus, tuent tetesen. In this film, the mirror doesn't reflect mistakes, it creates them. Oculus is built around the premise of perception breaking down. A cursed mirror warps what people see, hear, remember, even believe. But within this already distorted world, there's one scene where the mirror's behavior transcends the fiction. As Kaylee and Tim confront the mirror head-on, their reflections briefly freeze just for a moment while they continue to move. It's not dramatic, there's no sound cue, but the delay is unmistakable, as if the mirror had to catch up. It's been debated whether this was intentional or not. Some say it only exists in the streaming version, others swear it was in the theatrical cut, then vanished from physical releases. Is the mirror responding to them, recording them, or is it choosing what to reflect and what to withhold? Sometimes the most terrifying effect is barely perceptible. Hasson 5. The Sixth Sense, 1999. Some reflections don't just echo the living, they hint at the dead. When The Sixth Sense hit theaters, it stunned audiences with its quiet tension and devastating twist. But one scene, largely ignored at the time, contains a visual anomaly that refuses to go away. Cole stands alone in a hallway, staring into a mirror. It's a still moment. He doesn't move, but the reflection seems to shift just slightly. Not Cole. Something behind him, a shadow, a suggestion of presence, gone in less than a second. What makes it stranger is this. In certain versions of the film, that flicker is missing. Cleaned up, edited out, no official note, no version history explaining why. Was it an accidental inclusion, an extra on-set, a crew member caught in frame, or was it something left in deliberately, only to be erased once too many people noticed? When you stare into a mirror in a ghost story, who's really watching? Bonus fact. Eyes without a face, 1960. Some reflections aren't seen by accident. They wait to be discovered. Georges Franju's Eyes Without a Face is remembered for its elegance, restraint, and surgical horror. But hidden deep within a long-forgotten print of the film is a single moment that doesn't appear in any restored version and may never have been meant to. As Christiane walks down a hallway, ghost-like and gliding, a tall mirror fills the frame. She passes it without noticing. But in one rare copy of the film, the reflection doesn't match. There's someone else, a dark figure, still anonymous, positioned just behind her, visible only in the glass. The image doesn't appear in any Blu-ray release. Film historians deny its existence, but grainy screen captures circulate online, often dismissed as hoaxes. Was it a crew member caught in the frame, a projection artifact, or a moment of cinematic haunting that's been quietly erased from history? Whatever it was, the mirror saw it, and some viewers did too. We expect mirrors to cooperate, to reflect, not resist. But what we've seen tonight challenges that assumption. Across these films, the mirror acted strangely too slow, too fast, or too honest. Sometimes it revealed what wasn't film. Other times, it showed what the character and the audience weren't ready to confront. In a medium built on illusion, the mirror became the one element that couldn't be trusted, or perhaps trusted too much. Were these moments mistakes, overlooked visual quirks, or were they left behind intentionally, or not as cracks in the film's reality? And if a reflection can show us something no one remembers filming, what does that say about the rest of the frame? Let us know. Which of these reflections unsettled you most? Which ones felt like warnings? And when you next pause a movie, don't just look at the actor in the scene. Look behind them. You might not like what the mirror shows. Subscribe to Darkroom Cinema for more cinematic anomalies, forgotten truths, and questions that don't have easy answers. Because some images weren't meant to disappear.